But immediately,
There's all the
DJ Screw got me falling asleep. This is how we do it in that 713.
Welcome to Sports with Balls. Here are your hosts, Jeff Michael, Lauren Leal, and Grant Miles.
welcome in. SWB with you on a Monday night per usual. And we've had a crazy weekend of games. Lauren Leal, Jeff Michael, and a very familiar face here, a special guest. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him to come in the future. We have the one and only Grant Miles in the house.
What's up? How's it going, everybody?
already got somebody saying Grant, and of course it's Kevin Anthony.
Yeah, what's up, Kevin?
You know, this is the first time that he hasn't said "Go Cowboys" and I wonder why. The first time in months that he has logged on and hadn't said "Go Cowboys." That's usually the first thing.
This is one of the things about, and of course I know we're going to get into it, but more than anything, like the Cowboys winning are what's great because people like that just everybody hopes and prays that are Cowboy haters that they lose.
Sure.
So then they can start talking because otherwise it goes against everything they stand for.
I was thinking about that on the way here. It goes both ways, right?
Yes.
The hatred goes one way, and the passion for the Cowboys winning goes the other way. So all the memes that came out yesterday and all that, which some of them were absolutely hysterical, but it goes the other way. That's why there's so many people that are like, "Oh my God, please let them lose," and then other people are like,
absolutely,
let them win. But,
and then they're very boisterous. They come out, they start talking all kinds of mess, like it's great. But when the Cowboys are doing well, they're quiet.
yeah, definitely.
Well, that was all the talk this weekend after yesterday's game. Even though the 49ers are moving on to face the number one seed in the NFC and the Packers, everyone's still talking about the Cowboys. the Cowboys. But Grant, for all of you that are new listeners, new seeing us on the show, wherever you get us from, whether that be podcasts or with the visuals on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we are there. Well, Grant started the show with us over a while ago.
Year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him. We wish him the best on his new ventures with his other work life, but we're happy that you're with us. What has work been like? You've been traveling the world. You said you've gone to two Bucs games.
Yeah, no, it's been great. No, not the world.
Travel the United States.
Travel the United States.
Sending me screenshots from football games.
Yeah, no, I mean
stadiums.
that's been really cool. One of the things that's been awesome is having that opportunity. I mean, I've seen Philadelphia and the Bucs play, Eagles and Bucs in Philly. Which, by the way, I'm not an Eagles guy, obviously, but one of the best home stadium environments.
Really?
Philadelphia.
Yes, like when they do that Fly Eagles Fly,
Yeah.
it's really awesome.
It's
Yeah?
cool.
It really makes you it makes you jealous because you would wish that your team had something cool like that.
Yeah.
Like it is. It's really cool. The whole stadium does it. Everybody. So it's really great. Tampa Bay went to Tampa, so I've seen the Bucs twice this year.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So you saw Fly Eagles fly, but they didn't yesterday.
No.
Wow.
They didn't
got
even show
shut.
up. I was
They didn't
shocked
show up
by
till
that.
the fourth quarter in a pair of touchdowns.
Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, no, I know we're going to get into it. But yeah, I've seen college basketball. I went and saw University of Dayton play.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
In the mecca of
and
college basketball.
only you would know, like, to go to one of those games. Right?
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
anybody was around that, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, let me go see Dayton play." You know?
Well, yeah, because
but you would.
Well, and that's where they do the first four of the tournament.
Yeah.
So Dayton, really cool, and then University of Wisconsin went and saw the Wisconsin Badgers play basketball against the Indiana Hoosiers. So it's been good. Yeah, no,
Man, and
it's
you
been
know how many
good.
times that we've done this show and we've talked about bucket list things. And man,
I'm knocking some out.
You're knocking some out,
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
I want to go. Man, baseball season. Obviously, I want to go on. I've got to go to see Yankee Stadium, Wrigley Field, and Boston, and all. Man, I can't wait. But man, one of these times I need to go on a work trip with you.
One thing I'll
Yes,
say.
can we please do that?
Yeah, no,
so, because
absolutely.
you apparently go to all
Yeah.
these stadiums, we just need to come in your
Yeah.
suitcase. You do your work
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
go tour the city,
yeah.
and then we'll all go to a game together.
No, that's great. No, I will say real quick, a place that I thought was sneaky, like really cool environment.
Yeah.
And no games are going on, but just the way the setup is, Cincinnati.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati. So they Bengals Stadium, and then it's a walk, and then there's the Reds, and then they have like shut off the street. It's closed off. It used to be
Just
a
a
street.
big-ass party.
It's just a big
Oh, nice.
Big. It was really cool.
Are there
Really
like
cool.
a bunch of bars on that stretch or restaurants or
Yes,
anything like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a real cool environment.
All right. How's Melissa and the kids? Got to ask before.
Everybody's
we
good.
move on.
No, it's,
Everyone's good?
Yeah. I miss the family when I'm out, but times like this when I get to be home all week are really cool.
Man, we're excited to have you. I'm fired up.
I'm stoked to be here, man. It's been a
Absolutely.
while. I feel like
mean,
it's been forever.
Forever. And
Yes.
what a show for you to join us on Wild Card
Yeah,
Weekend.
no,
Just
yeah.
wrapping up. We have one more game tonight, Cardinals at Rams, which we will give you our picks in a bit. But all the comments, keep them coming. If you have any
Yes.
questions for Grant throughout all of this, let us know. And, of course, just anything in general sports-related, we love to answer it. Kevin Anthony, buildahouston.com.
Anybody that's
In the
out
comments,
there.
I love it.
Anybody
Yeah.
that's yeah.
No
we
one
haven't
can
heard
ever
that.
do it like
No,
you.
Dude, I
that's
tried
right.
for a while.
I know you did. I heard it one time. It was terrible. It was awful.
Can we get it back real quick?
Yeah, you could give him one. There it is.
Hey.
Love it. And look, man, all of y'all paying attention on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all the outlets that we're on. Please like, share the show. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sports with Balls. We're on there, man. We've got Grant Miles here. Man, one of the original founders, us three.
The original founder.
I'm excited, man. Especially like Lauren said, man, what a weekend and what a time for you to come on the show because it's packed.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get to it because we have so many takeaways of these games. We had all the home teams winning except for one in Dallas and Arlington, Texas, with the Cowboys loss. But we'll start it off with the Raiders and the Bengals, 26-19 Cincinnati, which you said that's an awesome place to be at.
Yes, it is.
Well, it is if you're a Joe Burrow fan because he went off again, 24-34 for 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. First ever playoff win, which was exciting, for him in general. Jamar Chase, he connected with very well, 9 catches for 116 yards. And it was the biggest crowd at Paul Brown Stadium.
Well, yeah. I mean, you want to talk about feeling good for a fan base. And the game was okay. We'll get into that in a second. But, man, they've been waiting 21 years. I mean, some of these people
Longer than that,
were
dude.
teenagers.
Longer than that.
I mean, so 1991. So, yeah, 31 years.
Yeah, dude.
31 years
Yeah,
that they've been
31.
waiting for a playoff win
Yes.
in Cincinnati. Some of these, imagine a 6-year-old kid last time that Cincinnati won. That was versus the Houston Oilers. So imagine this 6-year-old kid now, he's 37. And he's watching his team for the first time win a playoff game since he was 6.
Yes.
I mean, good for that fan base, man. They were
for
rowdy.
Sure. For sure.
Rowdy.
They got, we're going to get into it, but they got a good team.
Yes,
They got a real
Well,
good
yeah,
team.
so that's what I was going to ask you guys. This is we've talked about Joe Burrow and how he's put up almost like 500 yards the past couple of games in the last regular season. This game was only 244. Is Joe Burrow in Cincinnati the real deal, or were the Raiders just an easier matchup for them?
I think answer both of your questions. I think that Vegas is a little bit better than we think, but I also think the Bengals are really, really good. Look, what does it take in the NFL to be really good?
A quarterback.
A quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they got. They have a quarterback. Joe Burrow, and we're going to get into it when we talk about Dak. Joe Burrow is a dude that just wins.
Man,
That cat wins.
I'm telling you, the things that he's doing right now are up there with Hall of Famers. And I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not saying he is a Hall of Famer.
He's not Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But I knew that was coming. By the way, all of y'all saw Ryan Fitzpatrick at the Bills game with his shirt off, taking photos.
Yeah.
What a guy, man!
Yeah,
That is
doing
a
Fitzpatrick
football
things.
player. How much
Yes.
did he say he made in his career?
$87 million.
So he made $87 million,
My gosh.
and he's in the stands with the fans at a Bills game, who we all know he used to play for,
Yes.
with his shirt off.
One of the
screaming.
teams he used to play for.
Yeah, one of the 8.
many.
Yeah.
But I mean, what a stand-up guy, man, for doing that. But getting back to Burrow, we all saw the injury last year. Didn't know how he was going to bounce back from that. You're right, man. They have a quarterback on their hands, and a really good one. If he keeps going at the pace, man, he's going to be up there. I mean, his arm, some of the throws that I saw him make Saturday were unbelievable. I mean, fitting it into tight pockets. I mean, he looked like a mixture between like an Elway and like a Marino in there. Like it was unbelievable the things he was doing. And like you said, his last 3 games, holy crap. He's over 1,000 yards passing, like 9 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 0 picks. He's on fire right now.
Absolutely. And we can stick with that game a little bit, talking about the head coaches, not so much Cincinnati, but for the Raiders. It seems like Bisaccia, or I think that's how you say his name, he might be a placeholder. Do you think he would stay with the Raiders?
I don't think he would now. Now, what would have been interesting is if he would have moved on. Well, I think it's like a lot of things. It's what your options are. Like, what are their options to take his place? It would have been interesting if they would have won this game and made it on to the second round if they would have kept him. But in reality, they kind of crept into the playoffs. They didn't look very competitive in that game, in my opinion. I mean, they looked okay, but I mean, you know, they
against
just
the
didn't look
Chargers.
great.
The Chargers.
I was going to say, would this have been a better game on Saturday if the Chargers were facing
Yes.
the Bengals?
Oh,
I think so too.
Yeah.
And I think everybody wanted to see that, right? You wanted to see the Chargers in there, and because the Raiders were such in disarray the entire season. But you know, Mike Mayock, they just let him go a few hours ago, right? That's their general manager. You would have thought that they would have fired the head coach first. That actually shows me that they might have interest in still keeping him around. And there's a video that came out with him handwriting in his hotel room the night after they lost, handwriting all the players' letters. It took him hours, and he hand wrote all the letters, players, and stuff like that. So, sometimes it takes a coach like that to really turn around a team that, with all that's happened to them this past year, and we've gone over it numerous times, they've been in turmoil. Maybe that is the right coach for them. And he didn't do anything wrong, but like you said, did he do anything too right? Like, I don't know. They limped into the playoffs for real.
Well, something that came out today, too, was Gerard Mayo had been the conversation as far as the Texans' new head coaching position could go to him. They requested to interview him today as far as the Raiders go, and Dave Ziegler.
Which is weird on that with the Mayo interview, because he's not even, I mean, he might be a defensive coordinator, but on that staff at least, he's a linebacker coach. Yeah. So as a linebackers coach, then progressing to a head coaching position is quite a jump. But I see Rich Bisaccia, he used to coach for the Cowboys, and I've always been a fan of the guy. I think his players rally around him. I know Derek Carr had said that a lot of the players would love for him to be back. But then that gets into, do you want a players coach, or do you want somebody that's, really going to get some results out of their team? And that's the question, if he can do that or not, because, I don't know. I mean, I always call him Oakland. Las Vegas doesn't overwhelm you. So I think it was good for him to get him in the playoffs, but I mean,
they've overcome a lot this year, and maybe they do need a defensive coordinator. Their defense isn't what they rely on. They rely on Derek Carr, and they rely on Jacobs, who was hurt most of the season. So they've had a really rough go at it, and they lost 2 wide receivers, throughout the season. So their offense was stagnant a bunch of the times, but I mean, look, they made the playoffs. I like that coach and what he did for them, and maybe he's the right guy, but who knows? I mean, who knows? They just got rid of their GM, so it looks like they're in an overhaul.
They figure out head coach, they figure out GM, and then they're going to plan Derek Carr's future.
Yeah.
See if it's going to be there.
And the only question I would have about that would be, I wonder if Mayock is fired because he is wanting to get rid of Bisaccia, or because he wouldn't want to get rid of Bisaccia.
Yeah, I mean,
so you wonder what the philosophy is there that made him lose his job.
There's 8 head coaching jobs open. 1/4 of the NFL is ready for a new coach, and it happens every year. On average, there's 7 after every single season. So we're at 8 right now, and it looks like that's it. It looks like all the firings were going to get done. But man, Dallas may have one coming soon.
Getting some daughter love here on Facebook. Violet Miles just posted, or just commented rather. Guys, isn't my dad the best podcaster ever? Go Grant. Woo!
That's
awesome.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love
Thank
it.
you. That was
All
awesome.
right. Let's move on to the next game that happened over the weekend. And wow, the Bills just put a stomping all over New England Patriots. So 47-17. I mean, you just talk about how great they were. They scored on every drive. Talking about the Bills, they had a touchdown on every drive. They also scored in each of their first 4 first half possessions. Complete baller, Josh Allen. Did we see this from a team though? Because the Bills had gone down at the end of the season. They barely beat the Jets. They barely beat the Falcons, and they come out and they balled out against the Patriots. Was this a shock to anybody?
I think it was a shock by how much they won by and how in control they were the whole game. You do wonder at the end of the season, especially when you've reached the goals you want to reach and you know where you're going, how motivated you are at the end of the season. So, of course, we can argue players should be motivated all the time. But going into the season, they kind of had an idea where they were at. They knew they were going to get in the playoffs, so who knows how motivated they are. But I mean, that's one of the things about the Bills, though. They look really good. They really – I almost did what you told us not to do. I almost did it. I stopped though. They really kicked the Chiefs they kick them all over the field when they're in Kansas City, and then they have games like they played against the Jets. So it's very weird, but Buffalo's the real deal, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills are the first team in NFL history with no punts, field goals, or turnovers in a game.
Perfect game.
That's the only team that's ever done a perfect game, exactly. And, man, that was in a negative 6-degree wind chill factor. What a game by Josh Allen. I mean, you would think that Josh Allen is the next coming of the great quarterbacks. But like Grant just said, it's so awkward how that team can turn it off.
Yeah.
And they like all of a sudden just throw up a dud, and you worry about that. You get really scared if you're a Bills fans, because why didn't they do what they've done the last 3 games all year? Right? You said the Jets, they just handed it I don't understand the motivation where they get it from or how, but man, the Patriots have played them really tough. All right. Granted, they played in that 3-pass game, we all know, but Bill Belichick is a defensive genius.
Yes.
And for him to allow a perfect game, that's tough. That's real tough on him.
We were talking about it last show before all of these playoff games, and you were like, I don't know, Bill Belichick knows what he's doing. He watches films on these guys. He's going to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, and that's how it's going to go. But, he was able to overcome it. He had 308 yards through the air.
The Bills are in their division. They got to face them twice a year. So Bill Belichick's going to have to figure out, how do I beat these guys? And he's going to have to figure out Josh Allen. Bill Belichick's 70 years old, and he has to figure out if Mac Jones can beat Josh Allen, because you have to start there. You've got to win in your division before you can win anything else. So, that's going to be a rough one for him. The Bills and Patriots got a road in front of them.
What's hard about it is, the Patriots were literally the number 1 seed in the AFC 1 month ago. And now one game in, and they're out.
But those numbers, Josh Allen, 21 to 25, like you said, 308, 157 rating. He ran for 66 yards.
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns. That dude was a one-man show.
I know.
And that's the worry thing that me and Lauren talked about before. If Josh Allen can run the football, they're dangerous. But if you make him throw, granted, he only threw 25 times because it was a perfect game, basically. But if Josh Allen's throwing 40 times, you're in trouble, because he's not running. They don't have a run game. They can't run the football. So we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, speaking of see what happens, they'll be facing the Chiefs now. So that's what the next round is coming.
It's a fun game.
Remember, this kind of goes back to last year. They lost in Arrowhead, an AFC Championship game, talking about the Bills to the Chiefs. So it's going to be a big rematch, and that's going to be a very fun game to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of, we're talking about head coaches still on this because, it's that time of year. The Bills, both offensive and defense coordinators, Brian Daboll and defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier, are candidates for head coaching jobs. So obviously these wins under Buffalo is great, but they could be going elsewhere this next season.
I hate when people say that I don't care who's interviewing. I really don't, man. It's nonstop on my phone. All these, they requested. I don't give a damn who they requested to interview. Tell me who the next. I know.
Well, it's kind of like, I know.
Tell me who the next head coach. When they hire a coach, let me know. I don't care. The Texans, they request 8 different people all the time. DeMeco Ryans.
All the time.
DeMeco Ryans is being requested. What's his name? Santonio Holmes is being requested. And then some other
Josh McDaniels.
Just random people.
Did you really say Santonio?
Yeah, or Hines Ward. Hines Ward's being requested as a head coach. And I'm like, man, I don't need to be notified if the New York Giants are looking at Hines Ward. Look, I don't. Let me know when y'all find somebody.
Well, you know what?
If you fire somebody.
You know what comes up in a couple months is the NFL draft. And that's what I feel like this is. It's you do so much studying on all of these guys, and they don't even
and these are the teams that aren't even in the playoffs. Just stop until the playoffs are done, and then we'll find out.
Oh, well, Mike McCarthy be there too. All right, let's get into. I was thinking that was next game, but it's not just quite yet. We got the Eagles versus the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady does it again, 31-15. Jeez. Philly didn't even get on the board until the fourth quarter, scoring a pair of touchdowns, but they finished with 95 rushing yards. Ugh. And that was their strength. That's what the Bucs took away, was their running game. And this was Brady's 35 postseason win. That's just crazy as a starting quarterback.
Pretty cool, huh?
Dude, this is getting old, really.
So is he.
I know.
So is he.
He's your age.
I had this game.
Oh damn, Jeff.
So
you're old.
Yeah, I'm
Lauren
old.
just said that in a very
in a very nonchalant,
passive aggressive way. He's old, just like you.
She made it sound better. Thanks, Lauren. I appreciate it.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that.
Whatever.
The Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles laid an egg. And I thought this was going to be way more competitive of a game because of all the injuries that Tampa Bay had. But I tell you what, the front seven of Tampa Bay ruled this game. And that's what they did last year in the playoffs, and that's how they won their Super Bowl. If their front seven plays just like that, they're going to go deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, wow. Tom Brady. There's not really – it's really hard to really put into words with that dude. Like, does anybody, like to Lauren's point, he's Jeff's age. He's old. And so to think that guy is performing at the level he is right now is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
really unbelievable.
crazy.
I can't believe it.
And his release is so quick, and he just gets out to these flat routes. I mean, he knows. He said after the game, he already knows what he's doing when he gets up there. Like, he already knows. He knows what the defense is going to do, and as soon as somebody comes, he throws it there. Somebody comes, he throws it. Like, he just knows what's going on better than anybody else does. And it's annoying.
And you know he's paying very,
7
very
yards.
hard attention to tonight's game because that's who the Bucs are going to be facing next, whoever is the winner of the Cardinals and the Rams.
Yes.
But speaking of this game against the Eagles, you had wideout Mike Evans, who had 9 passes for 117 yards and a touchdown. Huh?
9 catches.
9. Huh? I'm sorry.
9
He
catches.
caught 9 passes. Sorry, caught 9 passes. And then you got Bernard, who chipped 5 catches and 39 yards, and then Rob Gronkowski. I can't talk. Gronk. He caught 5 for 31, and he scored a touchdown as well. But moving forward, we've talked about how they've been kind of depleted. They've taken away some of their weapons without some of their Leonard Fournette. AB's not there anymore. So how far can they go is the question.
Just throw it out there again. Don't ever bet against Tom.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
that's just my that's really all I have to say on that one.
No.
I tried yesterday or Saturday. I'd really tried. I was like, the Eagles they're going to give him a run.
Sure.
No. Not even close, man. Like I said, again, if that front seven gives Tom Brady that effort, they're going to be hard to beat on anybody. That front seven played phenomenal. I mean, they were crazy good, and that's what they did last year, and they're healthy right now. So that defense of Tampa, like Tom Brady's great, don't get me wrong, but all he has to do is throw those 5 yards, 12 yards, 17 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, and then once every now and then throw a bomb and get a touchdown, and they win the game.
Look, I just don't understand why he was playing in the fourth quarter. He was just sacked 3 times on those third downs. He was sacked so much this weekend.
I don't know.
Well, I think towards the end of the game, though, granted it was 31-15, but you got to think about it. If they had gone down, maybe it had gone 3 and out the way Philly was running the football or the way that they were moving the football. If they had to punt, I mean, that could have put Philly back into it. So I understand why they wanted to keep Tom in there to kind of drag it out because once they got the first down, it was over. But
it was 31-0.
Well, but when they had the ball there at the end, it was 31-15. And plus, I'm sure, what's his name? The Bruce Arians. I'm sure Arians was like, Tom, have a seat. And Tom was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go
that
out
was
there.
my next thing is like taking Tom out. Asking him to come out of a game would be a whole nother story.
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way he would do that. But to answer your question, what you had asked earlier, I mean, I think right now Tampa Bay's my favorite.
So at the beginning of the season, the Bucs lost to the Rams. They haven't played the Cardinals, and that's who they're going to be playing next, one of those teams. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Man, we are flying through these games.
Because they're not entertaining.
Yeah.
The next one is entertaining.
The next one is the game of the weekend.
Oh, for sure. The game of the year.
Possibly
almost.
the year.
Golly.
Yeah. So let's get to it. We got the San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. And, of course, we all know the score 23-17 49ers. And there's so many things to talk about here from Mike McCarthy. Do you know how to coach? Do you know how to even make these decisions?
On what play?
Yeah,
There's like 10 of them.
Exactly. Key situations, fake punt sequence, you got the draw play at the end. Why would you spike? It just none of it makes sense. Dak, why are you running down the field and trying to get a first down? Like none of it makes sense. But before we dive into it, since we do have a Cowboy fan here, quickly, we're going to touch on his thoughts and what your takeaways were from this 23-17 loss.
How long do we have?
Yeah.
I got a lot of takeaways.
Emphasize quick.
And it's a good thing you told me not to curse because it probably would happen a lot in my description of what's going on. Man, it was really disappointing. I mean, and it was disappointing in just the simple fact that I really, really thought this team had a real opportunity. And the reason I say that is because several Dallas teams before that have been really good always have been really good at offense. Defense hasn't really been better than average. I mean, they might have had an average defense. I know one year, I think when they lost to the Giants in 2007, when they lost to the Giants, when the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl, I think they had a top 5 defense. So they've had some defense, but mostly offense has always been top notch, or most of the time. It's been the defense. And they had a legit defense. They had a legit defender that was a playmaker in Micah Parsons. You had a legit cornerback that could intercept the ball and turn around for touchdowns. You had legit defensive ends that could sack the quarterback, and you had a really good turnover-heavy defense that could take the ball away. This was their shot. I feel like as any opportunity they had.
They were number one.
For me,
number one in the league in turnovers.
That for me is extremely disappointing.
They just won their division. And then they go into
the NFC. I think one of the reasons why they played like this is because the NFC East was terrible. Again,
that's
the
the
NFC
worst
East is not
division.
very good. So that is true. You got to win your division. But I'm not hanging my hat on the fact they won the NFC East because the NFC East was terrible.
Yeah, the Giants are just a dumpster
And they
fire.
they haven't been to an NFL title game in 26 years.
Yeah,
I mean, dude,
but
there's
that's
so
the
many
thing,
stats
man.
you can bring up.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. But I really thought this team had a really good opportunity to do it. But, man, I tell you what, we can talk about Mike McCarthy. We can talk about all the different things that happen and go on.
Oh, we're going to.
Are we going to do it now?
Yeah, we're doing
Okay.
it right now.
All right.
Let's
So
go.
I for the first time as watching the Cowboys, I do think this game got away from Mike McCarthy. I've had a lot of people that are fans that I talk to that have from the very beginning, it was like Mike McCarthy sucks, and I've really said I really want to see evidence. Like I think he does some things really well. I think
You got your evidence?
I think the fact that Cowboys were 12-5, I think that goes to the head coach. You can't say only the bad stuff is the coach's fault and the good stuff is the players. Like the coach has to be responsible for some of that. But this game, I thought, got away from him.
I look at Aaron Rodgers when I think of Mike McCarthy, right? So I look at what happened.
Yes, having a really good quarterback helps you.
Having a really good quarterback helps you, and Mike McCarthy and the semi-good success he had there. But look at what Aaron's doing now. I mean, he's on top of his game, and Mike McCarthy's gone. And you've got Mike McCarthy over in Dallas with – man, you just said it. Zeke, Dak, Lamb, Cooper, Gallup, Wilson, who's a breakout receiver this year. Schultz, who's a breakout tight end this year. Number one defense, number one offensive line. Like to what you were saying, man, they had it lined up. The Dallas Cowboys had this game, and that's why you saw all the videos yesterday when they opened the gates. Thousands of people rush into their seats.
By the way, I was like,
everybody-
this is going to be a
We're gonna hear a story about
repeat
that. Yeah.
of what happened at Astroworld.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
That went
I was
straight through
thinking
my
that
head.
too.
And I was like, look how excited this fan base is. And the first thing that went through my head was, what if they lose? And then you saw at the end of the game them throwing the bottles of water to the refs. And I'm sorry, guys. I know everybody thought they were throwing to the players, but you clearly see the referees running. They were throwing bottles at them. But me and you talked a little bit prior to coming on air. The Cowboys were deserving in all their penalties.
Every single one of them.
These weren't the refs. The refs didn't not call penalties, not because the Cowboys deserved all those penalties.
Yes.
And it's not just the Cowboys. San Francisco had this game locked up 2 or 3 times, and they screwed it up in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Like, I mean, bad. And there's so many things that went on between the third and fourth quarter that it's mind blowing in this game on both coaches' parts, and Jimmy Garoppolo and the decisions that he made, and then of course all coming down to Dak running the ball. He had just gained 30-40 yards on out passes. Now, granted, I know San Francisco changed their defense and they took away the sideline, which they should have done that earlier. But man, there's so many things to go over here on the fake punt. This is one of the things that really tripped me out and about how Dallas was performing on the fake punt. They get it, and they go crazy, and the sideline of Dallas goes crazy. They end up getting a delay of game call directly after that because the sideline was so excited. While meanwhile, San Francisco is just calm, cool, collective. Hey, we're going to do our thing. I just feel like the coaching staff for the Cowboys was just way overwhelmed by the atmosphere of that game. Even San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo said after the game, the atmosphere in there was just nuts. And it was.
Yeah.
And I think that the Cowboys got way ahead of themselves. And like you said, they made mistake after mistake after mistake.
Well, you talk about the coaching and Mike McCarthy not really on either side of the ball. Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, is calling the calls. You have Kellen Moore calling offensive plays. And so that is your job. That is your job to make those decisions and those critical key points in the game. And that's where you fell loose. Just having an insider on the Houston Texans and what they're doing with David Culley before he got fired, I was hearing Nick Caserio. He was on the headset with the GM of the Texans, and Nick Caserio was the one giving him the play calls. Okay, do it or don't do it on 4th downs. Go for it, not go for it. It's key situations. And I'm just wondering, okay, Mike McCarthy, you got to be the one to be able to make those decisions, and he's not. Well, so how long is his tenure in Dallas?
Yeah, that's we're going to get into that. But like you said, there was a key 4th down. There was 4th and 6. Dallas was on the 30-yard line, 4th quarter, probably 5 or 6 minutes left. Jimmy G had just thrown an ill-advised pass. Dallas picked it off. Huge momentum swing. The stadium had been out of it for 2 quarters, right? San Francisco had led the whole game. Jimmy G throws an interception. Dallas has got it on a 30-yard line. It's 4th and 6. It's a 2-possession game, whether you kick the field goal or don't kick the field goal. Why are you kicking the field goal? Go for the 4th and 6. I mean, regardless, it's a 2-possession game. I don't understand that play call at all. And you had momentum on your side. You get that 4th and 6, they're probably going in to score. You've got 4 minutes left, and it's a 1-possession game. But they kick the field goal, go back down, and then, of course, San Francisco screwed up a bunch too. Just a wild 4th quarter and some weird coaching decisions.
Franchise record of penalties, 14. Just wow.
Yeah, and the thing about the coaching decision is I was okay with that. Like kicking a field goal, that's not – I think sometimes as we watch a game, like we really investigate on a coach's side and we can like sit here and scrutinize every little decision that they make. If they had gone for it on 4th and 6 and they didn't get it, then everybody's like, oh, what an idiot.
Yeah.
He could have kicked a field goal and at least gotten points on that drive, blah, 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 blah. So just the fact that he did that. But my problem is when they did the fake punt, Mike McCarthy, I saw a look on his face. They showed him on the sideline. You see Fossil, acting crazy over there, trying to keep everybody on the field.
Yep.
And Mike McCarthy had this look about him. When you kind of have a situation where things are going out of control, like you have you're like, oh my God, how do I keep this from going as bad as it's going? Like that was the look McCarthy had on him. Like I feel like just from what I'm watching, he kind of gives his assistants, he delegates those responsibilities to him to take over and take care of. And when they don't, he just had this panic look on his face like, oh, my God.
Yeah,
I can't believe that just went the way that it went. Like, that's the look he gave Fossil. I think that was all Fossil. McCarthy had nothing to do with it.
Well, he gave the okay on the so it came out now that Fossil, he's the one that called the quarterback sneak, all right, in the 4th, the offensive coordinator for Dallas.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen
Moore, not Fossil. Kellen Moore called that play, all right, and then Mike McCarthy said, okay, he greenlighted it.
Sure.
Now, Dak's in the huddle and said, afterwards he said they practiced it, but you don't practice it with refs. And so he scrambles for 14 yards, whatever it was. And, obviously time ran out on them. But, man,
I don't understand that. They said that they've been practicing that Fridays and Saturdays leading up to this game. 1, why are you practicing that? 2, how are you possibly practicing that?
Yeah, I mean, he has to know that the ref has to touch that football. Everybody knows that. I mean, that was a legitimate call. They couldn't gripe about that. There was nothing said, oh, the ref screwed us over on that. No, the ref has to place the ball down. You can't just run, put the ball down, get your center over it, and snap it yourselves.
Well, and one thing to your point that you said about McCarthy having Aaron Rodgers, yes, I think Aaron Rodgers made McCarthy look good, but I also feel like McCarthy did a good job. Because you remember, Aaron Rodgers won MVPs and Super Bowls with McCarthy. So far, the only thing Rodgers has done with LaFleur is win an MVP. He hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. So let's find out and see. If they win a Super Bowl this year, then okay, but he hasn't done that yet. But Dak, I think that's I wrote 2 notes down when y'all were talking about this. The first one, penalties, obviously.
Yep.
Penalties were terrible. Mm-hmm. Second, Dak. I'm sorry. Dak, I've said it, like I support him. He's a great – just so those people out there that are going to comment or respond and say Dak's a great team guy. That's awesome. Dak's a great
So is
team guy.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Dak's a great team guy. His teammates love him. That's awesome. He's a great leader, and he's a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee.
There you go. There you go.
Look
He's
at Rodgers.
wonderful.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. Is he a team guy?
No.
Hell no.
Aaron
But
Rodgers,
guess what? He's MVP.
But that dude wins.
He wins.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, Dak is not – he is part of the problem. He is part of the problem. Dak yesterday did not come through. Mm-hmm. He just didn't. He didn't come through when they needed him.
I say this 1,000 times. I'll say it again. And you know this when you've been on the show 100 times with me before. When Dak throws 40 passes, the Cowboys lose. Guess what? 23 of 43. And on the flip side of that, when Zeke doesn't get 100 yards, and Zeke wasn't even close, 12 carries, 31 yards.
Zeke
that's
looked awful as well.
That's a losing combo.
Well, but that's also, we talk about McCarthy and his strategy in the game. Fake punts, which the fake punt I liked. I mean, they got a first down off of it. So the fake punt was good. Execution after that was what was terrible. The field goal kick on 4th and 6, the quarterback draw, all of it worked. The problem is you don't have people executing it appropriately. Like, you just don't. Like, to your point, Dak should know he had the ball in his hand. Like, he can literally walk over, once he slides, walk over to the ref, give it to him, and have him put it down and do that. But instead, he runs it over. Like, it was messed up. But one of the coaching decisions I had a problem with, I don't understand why they don't give Tony Pollard the ball more.
Yeah.
Every time Tony Pollard gets the football, he gets positive yards.
He's their Deebo Samuel.
That was what was making me upset as I watched that game. Where is Tony Pollard? Every time I saw Ezekiel Elliott on the field, I was upset.
And Dak was off. And we saw that in the first quarter.
Awful.
You saw in the first quarter he was overthrowing people. He was throwing behind receivers, and you were like, whoa. Against San Francisco, who clock manages very well, that's difficult. Like, you have got to put points on the board. I don't care if it is a field goal.
So many junk yards. I know, right at the beginning, too. Hey, all those guys that are right now commenting, keep commenting, please. Let us know what you think about the Dallas Cowboys game yesterday. Is Mike McCarthy going to be a Cowboy for this next season? There's a lot of positive feedback coming out of the organization that he will be there. But let us know your thoughts on the game itself, and should they have won this game?
So the Cowboys executive vice president, Stephen Jones, came out today and said that he fully expects Mike McCarthy to remain Dallas's head coach. And that is interesting. Because, like, you gonna rerun this whole thing?
There's no evidence. There's no evidence that Jerry Jones would fire him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't see. Jerry Jones is one of the most loyal owners in the world.
You're a Cowboys fan. Make Mike McCarthy an office guy and hire a quarterback coach, an offensive coordinator, or somebody that can make. Because Dak right now is a B+ quarterback. And that's why they are where they are, not in the playoffs. If Dak was an A+ quarterback, where all the other quarterbacks are, aside from Jimmy G, and that's a different story, but they would be in the playoffs. They need a better coach.
Who was the coach for a long time in Dallas? Jason Garrett, right? What would have Jason Garrett done in that situation yesterday?
Oh, it would have been over way.
He would have clapped a lot. Yeah. He would have clapped a lot.
You always see him clapping.
Trust me, that would have gone way worse with Jason Garrett there. Yeah. So that's not. But yeah, no. One of the things about Jerry Jones that people don't understand, Jerry Jones is one of the most loyal guys in the league as far as an owner goes. Like, he's kept people on way too long. Players, coaches. Randy Gregory is performing at a level that they've always expected him to. Randy Gregory has been suspended by the league like almost three seasons, and he's still on that team. Jerry Jones is extremely loyal. I'm not shocked that he wants to keep Mike McCarthy, because Jerry Jones is a loyal guy.
Right. Thomas J. Kim says Dak running into the middle of the field with no timeout says everything we need to know about the Cowboys and coaching. Sorry, not sorry.
I thought that was a good play. I thought it was a good play. Was it the smartest, greatest play in the history of the NFL? No, but I thought it was a good play if it was executed better.
I didn't, because look, you got Bosa out, and you had what's his name out too. The other guy that's a beast, Fred Warner for San Francisco. You had Bosa and Warner both out. All right, so you're going to have time in the pocket. You're going to have protection. You have already gotten 40 yards on 3 plays by throwing to the sideline. Now, San Francisco called a timeout. I get it. They finally took the sidelines away because Dallas doesn't have any timeouts. Make them hit the middle of the field. You could have still had 3 or 4 shots at something. Instead of just running down the field and got no shots. They had no shots into the end zone. And you know better than anybody, it's easier to throw a 35-yard shot to the end zone than it is a 20. Because once you compact the field and San Francisco puts everybody in between those the 20-yard line and the end zone, everybody's in there. But if you stretch it out a little bit, a 30-yard pass is way better than a 20-yard pass. It's just the coaching mistakes, in my opinion, were
egregious.
Man, they were egregious. And on the biggest stage in
no doubt.
Jerry world. I mean, those fans were so. I mean, look, Zeke, Dak, Lamb, Cooper, Gallup, Wilson, Schultz. Dude, they have.
Question.
God, Dallas has a. I mean, there's no reason for you to lose.
Question for both of you guys and everyone out there. So, for the decisions made in the fourth quarter of that game, Dallas 49ers, were they worse than the decision to take a timeout in the Chargers game at the end of it.
Oh, as far as that Brandon Staley?
Yeah.
Isn't that his
Yeah,
name?
Staley
I think
of the Chargers.
I think Dallas is way worse.
And I thought what happened in the Dallas game. Yeah, San Diego game, or San Diego. Chargers game, I didn't understand that.
Keep it up to date, Grant. Come
know,
on. I know it's been a while.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I didn't get that. But, what happened in the Dallas game? Again, I just think it comes down to execution, too, though. I'll say it. Dak didn't execute when he was supposed to. The punting unit didn't execute when they were supposed to. But, yes, the decisions they made were terrible.
Christian Lafferty says, I think Cowboys D gets better, but the offense is going to keep declining. This was their best shot to go all the way for some years to come.
What's up, Christian?
I
As always.
actually,
he's very
smart.
smart.
I was talking to a buddy of mine, too, about this. I think next year the Cowboys will be great again. I mean, if they don't lose anybody, they're only going to get better. I mean, they're roster on paper is probably the most talented in the NFL. Like if you go like
Star-studded team,
top to bottom, their offensive line is ridiculous. Their receivers are ridiculous. Their defensive line is ridiculous. Their cornerbacks are ridiculous. Like they've got it all together. So what is the one X factor?
No, they don't have it all together.
Yeah, well,
that's the thing. They have so
coaching.
many stars. Exactly.
Coaching in a really bad spot, and that's why I think that if Jerry Jones keeps Mike McCarthy, I mean, you want to talk about some people jumping off the Dallas bandwagon? Watch them lose next year.
But we're talking about
you're gonna have some issues.
We're talking about coaching and making those play calls. Well, Mike McCarthy's not making those play calls. That's Kellen Moore.
And he
on
just
offense.
nods. Apparently, he just says, "Yeah, that's fine."
So it has to be Kellen Mond, right? And
Well,
how long has he been there?
Cowboys fan, what's up?
So here's the thing, though. Kellen Moore, that's I think another part of this that needs to be inspected. That I think Kellen Moore is kind of getting a free walk on all this.
Yeah,
the
for sure.
assumption is that Mike McCarthy, which he's the head coach, he should have all
Kellen
the responsibility for that. But Kellen Moore, were you saying Kellen Mond?
I don't
thought
know
that's what
why.
you were
I was
saying.
like, yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
thought
I
you were saying.
was. My bad.
Yeah, don't talk about the Aggies.
He's not.
I know. I was like, why?
He's a former Aggie. Don't talk about
But
that.
you said it earlier. Oh, here we go.
Don't talk about that.
You haven't. I mean, you said it earlier. The head coach takes responsibility for all this.
Yes, he does. Absolutely.
And you know
but
what's
Kellen
funny?
Moore calls the offense.
But again, at press conferences, did you see Mike McCarthy today? No. Who do you see? Dak. That's all you see is Dak, and him blaming the referees, and then Ezekiel Elliott saying he had knee issues, and there's excuse after excuse. You don't see Mike McCarthy jumping up there going, you know what, this is my fault. Like, no, he doesn't. And step up to the plate, say something, do something. Like, it's annoying that you have this massive America's team, and yesterday playing San Francisco, the old rivalry, the catch. I mean, they replayed all those games and the conference title games that they've had. It's a fantastic football game that was marred by terrible, terrible football. And it really was. The Dallas Cowboys, their penalties, a record. And then the bad coaching mistakes at the end. I mean, you cannot be happy as a Dallas Cowboy fan and go, man, I'm really excited about our coaching next year.
Well, my only thing about coaching in relation to what we talk about with, like, who do they go get? Okay, they fire Mike McCarthy. Who's the guy?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're talking about play calls.
But that's my thing, though.
I
Like,
texted y'all
who's the guy?
earlier. I texted y'all earlier. What if Dan Quinn, because their defense made such a leap, from almost from worst to first, right? So what if they bring in Dan Quinn to be the head coach and take McCarthy, put him in a role upstairs somewhere, and then put somebody else at defensive coordinator? I don't know.
What happened to Dan McCarthy as a head coach?
Remember Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do so well.
Well, they blew a lead in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
To the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
hey, they
he's
got
had
to
all
the
his
Super Bowl
things, too.
28-30.
I get that.
And then
I
you
get that.
had the issues with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. Like, I totally understand all that. But Baker, now we understand, has issues with everybody. So I
Yes.
don't really take that as a hit on Dan Quinn. But I do think that you take your best asset, which in Dallas is their defense, and they need to start relying on that because obviously Zeke Elliott can't run anymore. I think Zeke is pretty much washed. I don't know how
They're
he comes.
stuck with him.
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have signed that contract in general.
No.
Yeah.
that second contract.
No, I
But-
said that when that happened.
But the thing is, you talk about capitalize on what they already have. They have the star-studded cast on offense, like you said. The defense is just well put together and knows how to execute. They just got to figure out those play calls to make on the offense, and a big part of that is your quarterback. Going back to what you stated a minute ago, Grant, as far as Dak, his looks not being great, overthrow the balls, just to not look on his A game and making smart decisions. So, of course, they fall. They are out of the playoffs. The 49ers move on, and they face who? The Packers.
Who's the 49ers head coach?
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan,
Shanahan?
right? Offensive minded. Well, he's got a little bit of defense in him too. I mean, legend, right? Here's Jimmy Garoppolo's stats: 16 for 25, 172 yards, and a pick. Terrible, right?
Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries for 96 yards and only a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, leading receiver, 5 receptions, 66 yards. Now, if you read off those stats, who won the football game? You would think Dallas blew him out. No. Dallas lost because of coaching.
I told you, I've never, ever thought Jimmy G was that good of a quarterback.
No, he's got a great coach. He's got a great
There you
coach.
go.
He's got a great defense. He's got a great run game. Look, he was 16 of 25 for 172 and a pick, and he beat the Dallas Cowboys. That's coaching. Sorry, that's. I mean, there's no way. And I just said Elijah Mitchell had 27 carries. That's coaching as well. That's ball control. That's staying on the ground and running the clock. And they even screwed up big time in the fourth quarter. San Francisco they handed the ball to Dallas 2 or 3 times.
Well, speaking of
Dallas,
Jimmy
just made worse coaching decisions.
You talk about how much he didn't do in this game, talking about Jimmy G, but he also has a hurt shoulder, apparently, that came out today, but supposedly will be ready to face the Packers this coming week.
That's
how do
the
you see that
football
matchup?
game.
Oh,
I just
gonna
think of
get
Terrell
destroyed.
Owens. Every time I think of San Francisco and the Green Bay Packers, I think of Terrell Owens catching that pass over the middle and crying every
Dude, cried a lot.
single time.
You think about it.
Exciting football game, man. I'm fired up about it. I would have loved to have seen, I know people aren't going to want to hear this, but I would have loved to have seen the Cowboys and Packers. That would have been, I mean,
I just would have been so fun.
Star-studded event.
It would have gone, if they had won, it would have been Cowboys, Bucs.
Oh, yeah, they would have
and
played the
then-
Bucs.
Yeah,
but
correct. I'm with you. To see the Packers and the
Packers and
Cowboys.
Cowboys
I mean,
would've been-
they would have met in the NFC Championship game. If
Yeah, that would have
happened.
been fantastic.
And somebody had mentioned on the comments, like, coaching matters. And I agree. Coaching matters. 100% coaching matters, coaching matters, coaching matters. But what matters, though, also is having players that can execute a strategy. And yesterday, Dak did not execute. He just didn't. I mean, if we want to talk about
I
if we want to talk about who really did good, let's talk about D'Amico Ryans. That dude was a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys were one of the highest scoring teams in the league.
Yep.
All their offensive categories, bang, bang, bang. D'Amico Ryans' defense for San Francisco did a fantastic job of limiting what they do really well.
Yeah, again, because I read the offensive stats, and they're for San Francisco's offensive stats are terrible.
Yes.
Absolutely terrible, and they won the game. And D'Amico Ryan's great for him. In fact, I think he's getting calls for head coaches jobs now.
Yes.
I mean, everybody is, apparently.
Yeah.
But Mike McCarthy is not. Apparently, right now, Mike McCarthy, from news reports in Dallas, it looks like he's going to stay there. So just one last question on this, because we can beat it to death. For you, Grant, because we love having you on the show. We all know you're a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. Who's to blame for yesterday's loss? One person.
Dak, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Dak.
Well,
it's a much different outcome. If Aaron Rodgers is playing that game, they win that.
Dude, but
Even if they make stupid decisions and the coach whatever,
he was
and I'm not trying to compare Dak to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a different cat, but Jimmy G played a terrible game yesterday.
Yeah.
Jimmy G, though, that cat we talked about earlier with Joe Burrow, whatever that guy has, that magic sauce, he wins.
Yeah, he does.
He just does.
How great was it?
Sorry.
How great was it to have Tony Romo calling that game?
Yes.
I love Romo. I love Romo in the booth, like as a player, like whatever. But man, Tony Romo in the booth is fantastic.
So I wanted to say,
he's a great commentator.
I had somebody email me today that I work with that's an Eagles fan, and he said, "How great is it? Tony Romo is talking about how bad Cowboys play in the playoffs, and he's like literally somebody that had a hand in that."
Experience.
And that's what's
coming from experience.
Yeah,
if you listen to the broadcast, y'all go back right when the game starts or right before kickoff. He actually says that San Francisco is going to win this game. He's like, Cowboys are going to have a real tough time, like, bro, doing it the Tony Romo way.
Your Tony
and
Romo
he,
voice?
yeah,
That was really cool.
and then he really goes into how San Francisco is going to beat the Cowboys, and they played out. And all throughout the game, you can hear him. He says it about 5 times. He goes, "Dak's off. Oh, Dak's way off. Dak's off." And he says it throughout the game, and he's right. Dak was off. He threw one beautiful pass to Cooper in the end zone.
That was a great pass.
Great pass. And other than that, man, he was overthrowing people by 4 or 5 yards.
Now, do you think this is a one-game pressure situation when it comes to Dak
Man, it
Prescott, or
should
do you
be.
think that's just how his game has got? Like, he's not as great of a quarterback as people think he is.
Grant said it. If that was Aaron Rodgers, they would have won by 2 scores. I truly
So
believe
this
that.
was a one-game situation, you're saying, or
No,
is it his talent overall?
I think that's what he does in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
Chokes.
That's just what he does in the playoffs. It's not uncommon for this to happen.
He looked overexcited and then just looked like
he just looks like he doesn't know how to react. I don't know. This is what he does in the playoffs. I mean, he was under 60% as far as his completion percentage yesterday.
Yeah, man, 23 of 43. That's not good.
Yeah.
No,
that's not
terrible.
good. Yeah. And I mean, look,
But he's the biggest reason.
we're going to talk about the Cowboys for weeks and weeks to come, I'm sure,
Yes.
about everything that's going on, man. But whew, lots to get into.
We'll see if that offensive coordinator stays there. But we know one quarterback that's going to be leaving after their loss yesterday, and that is Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers as they fell to the Chiefs 42-21. And man, what a game. The Chiefs were just confident. They go out there, they're going with momentum into this game, and they have fun with it. But
it was fun for the first quarter.
Yeah.
It
No,
really was.
they were like-
it was like, uh-oh.
well, the thing is, like, okay, Steelers got on the board first because of a defensive play, right?
TJ Watt. Yep.
Exactly. He runs in, he capitalizes on the defense and get a defensive touchdown. But then you have Patrick Mahomes coming back and scoring. You have Travis Kelce at the end who throws a touchdown. And, that's whenever it's really sad if you're a Steelers fan. You're like, wow, like they're really outplaying us this bad because Big Ben, you talk about Dak overthrowing guys, Big Ben left and right every other play.
Oh, dude, he.
And I'm just like, okay, was this the best way for Ben Roethlisberger to go out? Or should they have just ended it whenever he was at home, the regular season, that last win in the regular season?
The Raiders should have kneeled the ball. That way the Raiders and Chargers
Yes.
got in.
Exactly.
And Steelers never should have been in
Exactly.
this at all.
Exactly.
For sure. I mean, Big Ben, look, man, 2-time Super Bowl champ, been there 3 times, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3rd most fourth quarter comebacks in NFL history, 5th most wins as a starter, for sure Hall of Famer. But I believe Big Ben left a lot out there. With the talent that Big Ben had, he should have been. Josh Allen's like a young Ben Roethlisberger. Ben just didn't. Yeah, I mean, it's same height, arm strength, everything.
I can see the physicality of it.
And Ben just didn't put in the offseason work. He got into a lot of legal trouble. There's a lot more that Big Ben could have done. And I've said it before, Pittsburgh is notorious for drafting incredible wide receivers. I mean, Big Ben has always had an incredible defense, an incredible running back, and an incredible wide receiver, like his whole career. But I mean, props to him. It was sad to watch. The 3rd and 4th quarter was really sad to watch Ben. Like he's immobile and just chunking it wherever.
TJ Watt, the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, when you tie the sack record, I don't see how you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, and his team goes to the playoffs. Frankly, I would have loved to see Micah Parsons because I thought Micah had a really good shot. But when you break a record like that, like in it's one of the things.
He missed 2 games too.
I know. I think I had. I think I'd put it out on Facebook.
If he would have played in those games, he would have passed Michael Strahan.
Oh, for sure. It's very interesting what records will do now that we have an extra game in the season.
Yep.
So it's giving people extra opportunity. But yeah, he played that many games. But I tell you what, you want to talk about a drafting failure? I know people like to talk about Jerry Jones as a GM. We're going to go back to the Cowboys and talk about
I'm fine with it.
talk about drafting failures. The Cowboys could have drafted TJ Watt.
Yeah.
You know who they drafted instead?
Uh-oh.
Taco Charlton.
Woo!
Do you remember Taco Charlton?
Yes, I do.
Defensive end from Michigan. TJ Watt was sitting right there, and they
passed on him.
Taco Charlton.
Yep.
Wow.
They passed on a Watt twice. They passed on J.J. Watt, and they got Tyron Smith.
They did great this last draft, though. Look,
They did.
And we did the draft together, and I was
Yeah.
shocked. I was like, no way he's going to sit there and wait. And
Yeah.
sure enough, the Cowboys did great, and they had great defense.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
look.
But yeah, no, TJ Watt was not drafted by Jerry Jones. Instead, he chose Taco Charlton.
Wow. You never know. I mean, you never know with these guys.
great decision.
Texans got Deshaun Watson while the Chicago Bears got Mitch Trubisky. And we see how that worked out as well for both of those guys.
Both of them.
Right?
At this point,
At
I think
this
the
point,
Texans
it's like,
might
ooh.
want Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, I don't
Hey,
know.
but Trubisky may get a Super Bowl this year, though. He's a backup on Buffalo.
That's
so.
true. That's true. Yeah. All right. So Mahomes finished that game 30 of 39, 404 yards with 5 touchdowns. He had one interception and a tipped pass. But the Chiefs were having fun, and they'll take it into the divisional round. As I said, that they were going to play the Buffalo Bills next. Can the Chiefs carry this momentum?
That's going to if Josh Allen plays at Josh Allen level, and at this point, who cares if it's cold, right? He just absolutely annihilated them in a -6. The Bills and Chiefs game should be unbelievable. Like that should be almost like a mini Super Bowl for a lot of people. Like the Bills are playing out of their mind. The Chiefs are 2 times. They went to the Super Bowl twice in a row. You got Bengals, Titans, 40. All these games.
Yeah, that's good.
Man.
Now, Kansas City, I think Kansas City, believe it or not, I think has kind of snuck into this position that they're in. Like they had a stretch where they didn't play really well.
Yeah.
And people really weren't talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
And now Kansas City is playing the way they are, and they're playing sneaky good. Like I think everybody, it's kind of like the Golden State Warriors. Like Golden State Warriors get to a point where you're just kind of like, yeah. Enough of the Golden State Warriors. Like the Chiefs are getting like that. Like,
just expect them to
enough
win.
of it. And so when they do, it's not that big of a deal.
Dynasty.
Yeah, but I mean, they like we're talking about quarterbacks. Pat Mahomes, 31 of 40, 406.
Oof, damn, that's gangster.
Like I mean,
that is
in the playoffs.
Yeah,
6 touchdowns, 1 interception,
and
like,
against
that's crazy.
against TJ Watt, sack leader
Correct.
in that defense.
Yes.
So incredible. And you've got the line opened up at -2.5 and the over under at 55. That is a basically pick 'em game because it's in Kansas City and you get 3. It's -3 for being at home. So basically, they're giving a point, half a point to Buffalo on this game. I don't know at this right now. It's at 5:30 on Sunday. I don't know which way to go with that. Like I have no idea what I'd bet with that. Like no clue. I'd probably
on the
take
weather.
the. Depends on the weather.
Yeah, Jeff likes to talk about the
30,
weather.
it says
That's
it's
for
37
sure.
and clear.
Jeff the
37 and
weatherman.
clear.
37 and clear. Ugh, yikes.
That's cold weather.
Are y'all going to be traveling to any of the playoff games or Super Bowl?
Hopefully, we're going to Super Bowl.
Are we?
I don't know yet. We'll get an email soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope to.
That'd be
But what
nice.
about Grant? Grant, you're the one that's been traveling all of America lately.
No, I probably won't be able to do that. I mean, I will say if the Cowboys were getting, I already told myself if they were going to start getting close to possibly going, then I was going to figure that out. But yeah, no. Sometimes with stuff like that, man, and like even in my experience going to the stadiums I have been, it's been really cool to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a pain to go to a game now.
Why do you say that?
It just getting into the stadium, getting to your seat, like getting around. It's a pain. Driving there.
It's
all
like
of
that
it.
commercial where don't be your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're
But it is
getting
though.
old.
Don't get me wrong. It's very old manish of me. I 100% agree.
Yeah, I
It's
would be
just-
in a pain too. I'd rather
it's
sit
a
in my
pa-
living room and turn it up.
Yeah, it's a pain. I mean, it's really
Well,
cool.
then you can
experience,
actually
but-
watch and study the game. But yeah, if you're going it's the experience is what you're going
Oh,
for. But
for
if you want to
sure.
study
Yeah,
the game,
absolutely.
definitely at home is the place to be.
Yeah, I
most
couldn't
definitely.
imagine going to a -6 football game.
No.
Dude, I'm
Last
sorry.
year,
No.
last year we had a hour and a half, 2 hour Super Bowl special.
Yeah,
amongst us
stay
three.
tuned for that too.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Can you believe that was last year?
That's awesome.
And then you
Yeah.
left us.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But I mean,
Not
but
in
I'm-
spirit. I'm still here in spirit.
Yeah.
it's been
Yes.
incredible to have you back, and with the things and the way the show is going, hopefully we're going to have Grant back on the show more often than not. So you guys stay tuned for Grant being more on the show. You travel a lot, but we're going to try to work you in as much as we can because Lauren's busy as well. I'm busy, so whenever we can. We're gonna try to get Grant back on the show for sure.
Yeah, no, and just in the segment of the show where we start to get real, I've missed it. I mean, I've missed like being here with you guys. We started, like we said, we started this thing. Man, you think about it, how long ago we started this deal?
Yeah,
Like it's almost 2 years, right?
What'd you
Wow.
say? March,
At Lucky's at April.
April
Yeah.
of 2020.
Yeah.
So
Started at
almost 2
Lucky's
years.
Pub.
Almost 2
We've been
years.
to Prime.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff.
This is episode
Social
100.
Prime.
This is episode 161.
Wow.
I put on that Prime. What was it? What was
Yes,
the name of the
Prime Social?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
They
gave
gave
us
us
a
T-shirt.
And they gave us food.
Yes,
They gave us
food.
food.
But I had a T-shirt and I put it on the other day. I was like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was fun. Man, we've been everywhere doing
Oh, we did it in your backyard on the golf course.
Yes. Yeah.
We couldn't get things
In the
fired up.
dark.
There were mosquitoes.
In the dark.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We've done a lot.
Yeah,
man.
we have. It's been fun. It's been fun. But hey, it's the first ever Monday night playoff game happening tonight, just here in a little bit. The Cardinals and the Rams will be underway in Los Angeles, and this is the third time that these guys are facing each other in this matchup. They've both won a game, and the Cardinals, their advantage is being on the road. So holding on to that if you are an Arizona fan. But the Rams have won 4 out of their last 5 regular season games, and the Cardinals have only won 1 of their last 5 regular season games. The Rams are favored 3.5. Over under is 49.5. Guys, how are we feeling about it?
I'm taking the coach and the quarterback. Give me the Rams.
All right.
And I was Arizona because I think Kyler Murray is a better playmaker than Stafford. But Sean McVay is a genius. They're at home. They're healthy. Their defense is playing good. I like this being a fun game to watch, and I like the Rams.
So Matthew Stafford has that playoff experience, but losing all 3 times. Kyler Murray, this is his first playoff game.
He doesn't care. I don't think Kyler Murray cares at all, and that team doesn't. J.J. Watt's back tonight. It should be fun. This will be a fun game to watch.
Grant, who are you going with?
I'd have to agree. Although I'll say this, and I probably wear people out sometimes when I talk about this.
Cowboys.
And I said it a while ago. I said it a while ago. There's something to be said about somebody that wins. Kyler Murray wins. I don't care. He did it in high school. He did it at college. He won the Heisman. He was, they won at Oklahoma. So far, they've won in Arizona. There's something to be said about a player. And we've done athletics. We've played sports. You're just around that one dude that winning just shines on.
There's
that
an
guy.
It factor, like you like to say always. There's
just something about it. And so that's the only thing with somebody like Kyler Murray is Matthew Stafford, to his credit. I'm a Matthew guy, and first off, let me just say, 2 Texas boys going against each other, quarterback tonight. So, yeehaw! Yeehaw! Hey, and let me just say also, by the way, Dallas Fort Worth area quarterbacks. Let me go into that. But Matthew Stafford hasn't won. He didn't win in college, really. I mean, he hasn't really won in the NFL. He hasn't. Kyler Murray has won.
This wouldn't be a letdown if Arizona loses. It would be a massive letdown if LA loses.
LA has gone all in on this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got OBJ back. He's playing good. They even had their running back back. They have all the weapons. They're healthy. Their defense is on point. If Arizona doesn't win, it actually is not that big of a shocker. Kyler Murray's first time in the playoffs, like you said. J.J. Watt not as fully healthy as he should be. Hopkins out. Yeah, so Arizona isn't winning, not that big of a deal. But L.A. losing, they've gone all in. So this is a huge game for L.A. And Matt Stafford needs to get his first playoff.
Yeah, that's a good point that you put. A lot of heaviness on LA for going all in this season.
Definitely.
I am going to have to go with Los Angeles Rams just because I want that for Matthew Stafford. I want that after all the losing games that he's had in Detroit, now in LA, and putting heavy emphasis on what we just did with going all in. But I'm not too confident in it because of how strong Kyler Murray is in his arm and escaping the pocket, extending plays, and just being able to have that win factor, that it factor.
There's something to be said about that. The only thing that makes me nervous about Arizona or pulling for Arizona in this game or thinking they're going to win it, Cliff Kingsbury, I don't know. I mean, Coach Bro.
I don't know.
I mean, Coach
I was
Bro.
gonna say, wait, what's wrong with Kingsbury?
Coach Bro.
Because he's swagger?
No, I don't mind swagger. I mean,
I'm mad at him for
not.
Remember, he was supposed to call on the show
He
or come on.
was supposed to come on our show.
Mad at
We
you.
were supposed to get merchandise
You
from
know what?
him.
Now I hope you do lose.
Yeah, boom. Put that in your pipe, Cliff Kingsbury.
Man, don't save this show.
No, but what about
who'd you-
it?
I mean, Sean McVay or Cliff Kingsbury?
I mean, I shot Sean McVay all day.
So that's the thing about that with Kyler Murray that makes me nervous is Cliff Kingsbury.
This
as a quarterback.
is on the Cowboys.
I mean, as a coach.
This is on the Cowboys level. If LA loses, it would be that big of a disappointment for them. They are all in. They're healthy. They've got their quarterback. He played great all year. This is the best team they've had since Eric Dickerson. So LA is all in, and this would be a massive disappointment. Huge, as big as the Cowboys losing last night. That stadium will be rocking just like Dallas.
No, I agree. And I'm just kind of laughing right now, inside still at Grant's comment of Cliff Kingsbury. Why?
Yeah, bro.
Why? Bro.
But what has that guy done?
Coach Bro.
Okay, so what has he done? What has he done in his coaching life other than coach Johnny Manziel to a Heisman Trophy as offensive coordinator? What else?
He better win tonight.
What else?
Well, like you said,
List
the
his
Cardinals have
accomplishments.
won a lot this season.
Okay. They won this season.
Hey,
What
I
else?
mean, I'm not going against you on this. Like, I'm not. I just think that Stafford
I'm
has
just
a better
saying
offense.
it's funny.
I think
Your
Stafford
comment.
has
I wonder why Cliff Kingsbury.
Kingsbury, if he did not
I don't even know how he got that job to begin
if
with.
he did not have Kyler Murray, he would be in deep trouble.
he'd be fired.
Yeah, but they've won. They've had a good defense. They have won a lot of games. They're still competitive. J.J. Watt is back. He won't be as – I guarantee he plays maybe 40%. He won't be in 60 or 70%. I don't think he's probably healthy enough to do that. Well, not healthy, but stamina-wise. But, look, they don't have DeAndre Hopkins, and I think that's a massive factor for them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Kyler
man.
Murray's a winner.
I got to, man, just got to thank you for coming back on the show, dude. It was awesome.
Oh, is that it?
Amazing to have you.
Is the show over?
Yeah, we're already way hour and 5 minutes into it.
Damn.
And our producer Jason, man, Jason's back
DAMN.
here. We're shooting in 4K now. How cool is that?
I know, right? I mean, look at this new set that we got us. Jeff brought the cool signage in the back for you and for
hey,
Grant.
yeah.
Here we
Let's
go.
get into that.
Nothing for me, though.
Let's get into
but,
that.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, what is that from? Cocktails and Dreams.
The bar? I don't know.
Okay, so what bar? So what bar?
Cocktails and Dreams?
Oh, well, I mean, you got that.
See, what's
correct.
crazy is that like I forget how young you are, and then we start having conversations.
What
like
is
this.
it? It's Matthew McConaughey, right?
No.
No,
No?
not at all.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Okay. One
Tom
of those
Cruise.
guys.
The movie's called Cocktails.
Tom Cruise and Matthew McConaughey are nothing alike.
No, but they had
You're like,
big
yeah,
movies.
one of those guys.
they had
Like actors? Is that what you mean? Like one of those
they had
people like
big
actors?
movies at the same time, like the rom-coms.
Oh, okay.
And then you
Right.
had Mission Impossible. Or no, wait, was that
Wait,
Tom
what?
Cruise?
What?
That was
Mission
Tom Cruise.
Impossible was Tom
yeah,
Cruise.
Mission
yeah,
Impossible.
yeah.
Sorry. What was the other one that
And
you
you
said?
had like rom-coms from Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, okay.
And Dazed and
Rom-com.
Confused, I guess, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Romantic comedies? Is that what rom-coms
Rom-com.
are?
Yeah, you know
What's your
that. Come on.
favorite
It took me a
rom-com?
second to like
Hold on, let's
process
Yeah, I don't
that.
know.
I'm like,
What's your
rom-com.
favorite rom-com?
I don't know, because I don't know what's considered one anymore.
Okay, I mean you gotta have an idea.
Like Dexter. Is that a
Dexter,
is that a romantic
you're weird, dude.
Dexter, what
Dexter's
the?
not a
I'm
rom-com.
just
That's
saying,
a
like,
murder show.
I
What are you
know.
talking
I've
about?
actually never watched a full episode of Dexter, but I'm just
Dexter's
You
saying.
should watch it. It's
good.
really good.
That's what
good.
everybody says.
It's really
but
good.
I'm saying nowadays, like she said, what is rom-coms now? And that's, I mean, romantic comedies are awkward now.
But yeah, you went to Dexter.
It's
though.
not like,
that
you
was
know,
weird.
it's not like Who's Got
The
Mail.
the ugly truth. I don't know.
Like Who's
that
Got
was a
Mail?
funny
That was a
one.
great romantic comedy, right?
It kind of tells me a little bit more about you, Jeff, and your romantic life. We were talking about rom-coms, and he's like, I don't know,
Dexter.
the show about somebody killing people.
I don't.
What's that other one called? You?
Oh, I love you. Yeah.
That's
But
a
that
roman-
is
that's
not.
not a comedy,
Oh
though.
no, that is not a rom
No,
com.
it's not.
Okay.
No,
That's
yeah.
like a thriller, psychological.
Lock somebody in like a glass library. Or
Yeah,
something.
I'm thinking
In a
back on when I
basement.
watched Dexter and those romantic killing scenes. Like they were really, really cool.
What the?
There
Are you
weren't
turning
any. That's
into
what I'm
that?
saying. There weren't any.
Oh, I was
I'm
like, what
mocking
are
what
you
Jeff's
getting
saying.
at?
But no,
okay.
rom-com. You don't know what a rom-com is?
Speaking
Of
of
course,
it,
I know what a rom com is. A romantic comedy.
I know. So what's your favorite?
The Ugly Truth. Does I don't know, Mean Girls qualify as one?
what's
Legally
the
Blonde.
one with Jack
No.
Nicholson and what's her name that he can't walk on the lines? to
I
get
love
OCD?
4 Christmases.
And Thomas said Jeff Michael looks like the bartender from Cocktails in that shirt. This shirt is actually from Dumb and Dumber, which was not.
Yes.
It's not a rom-com.
Do you know what Dumb and Dumber is?
Yes.
Okay.
And Dumber.
Damn, she got
Dumb
upset like
and
that. She's like,
Dumber. Yes.
you stupid idiot.
All right, we got to get out of here, man. I want to thank Grant Miles for coming on the show again. Hopefully, we will see more of you, man. Sorry about your Cowboys, but man, your insight is always amazing. Love having you on. Love the voice. It's great. It's such a familiar voice in my ear. I absolutely love it.
Yes. Jeff, great sum up. But yeah, Grant, we love having you here.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
love
much
being
fun.
here.
It
I
feels
miss you
like
guys.
the beginning. And can we see you more, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please come back?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that about wraps up, I guess, episode 161 of SWB.
Sports with balls. Lauren hates saying it.
And
One day
we'll
she'll
be back
say it.
Thursday.
All right, man. We'll see y'all. We out of here.
Breaking them off proper with this H-time flow.